10,000 UN volunteers in 1 year. For the first time in 50-year history of UNV, we've reached a milestone of 10,000 UN volunteers in a single year. UN volunteers contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals in many different ways. Some of them are working on climate action, gender equality or peacekeeping, while others are leaving their mark in humanitarian efforts or the global fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. But all of them are making a difference and helping create a better future for everyone. Thank you 10,000 times. You truly are inspiration in action.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from Pakistan. My name is Wasim Ashraf, and I'm the UNV Country Coordinator in Pakistan. Please allow me to welcome high-level dignitaries, Ms. Usha Rao Munari, Under Secretary General and Associate Administrator of UNDP, who joins us from New York. Ms. Callie T. Clements, Assistant Secretary General and Deputy High Commissioner of UNHCR, joining us from Geneva. And Mr. Twali Kurbanov, UNV Executive Coordinator, who is sitting with us at the moment. But before we listen to their views, I would kindly request Mr. Knut Osby, UNDP resident representative in Pakistan, to express his views. Knut, over to you.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be here with the Associate Administrator of UNDP and the Deputy High Commissioner from UNHCR and the Executive Coordinator of UNV. And I want to wish a particular personal welcome to Toily as the Executive Coordinator. We worked before together in Fiji, and we have great memories from that time, and I have been very impressed of what UNV has done since he came on board there. UN volunteers have made a great contribution to Pakistan and to also with UNDP's program. Examples of that are volunteers who came after the 2005 earthquake, the 2010 floods. They have assisted in elections, in helping people work for civic rights, including disabled rights, and they have also helped us develop a national volunteers program. But more important than that, I think, is what they bring personally. I think I have worked for the UN for more than 30 years in many countries, met many volunteers, and there's a big difference when people give of their own self. They give their own time without getting a salary to help improve the lives of others. The self-sacrifice, the willingness to be the development assistance that is needed and to deliver your own capacity makes a big difference in what the volunteers are doing. And I have great respect for that spirit. I think it's needed in the UN, it's needed outside the UN, it's needed all across the world. And I thank from my heart the volunteers for what they're doing.
Thank you very much, Knut, for these inspiring words. I would now request Ms. Nariko Yoshida, UNHCR representative in Pakistan, to express her views.
Hello, I think people can hear me. Again, thank you for inviting UNHCR here today. And UNHCR Pakistan, we really benefited greatly from a contribution of UN volunteers. The appointment of UNVs in the UNHCR Pakistan started 2007. And since then, 33 UNVs have been deployed to work with us in Pakistan, both national and international. And 70% of those UNVs working for UNHCR Pakistan were women. UNVs have been deployed in all three of our offices in Pakistan, Islamabad, Quetta, and Peshawar. And currently, we have one female international UNV working in Quetta. Our volunteers bring motivation, solidarity and diversity of perspective, enriching the work that we do. I'm a firm believer in UNVs and value they bring to our dedicated teams. And I think at no time has their commitment been so evident as now when the COVID-19 threatened everyone alike. Brave and resourceful UNVs are still coming to make a difference and shape the way we do our work and reach our peoples of concern here in Pakistan and around the world. International Volunteer Day on the 5th of December is a special occasion for us to highlight the work of our volunteers. For me, I'm personally encouraged and hopeful about the future when seeing volunteers come to work with us. Together with UNV, therefore, I join and celebrate the spirit of voluntarism under this year's theme, Volunteer Now for Our Common Future. I believe that every volunteer who comes to work for the UN, he or she comes with a strong sense that we can make a change for the future, for the better. To all UNVs, let me say thank you. It is a particular honor to be here today to mark 10,000 UNV. UNHCR Pakistan will continue to look forward to work with UN volunteers. It is important for UNHCR and refugees to have capable people with a lot to give in Pakistan. UNVs will continue to be a part of UNHCR effort to also support Pakistan in responding to the protection and humanitarian needs of Afghan refugees. Pakistan country hosts 1.4 million Afghan refugees, many of whom have been here for over 40 years. The people and the government here have been very responsive and responsible for refugees over the years. That tradition of generosity among the Pakistan people is admirable. To all UNVs to work or have worked with UNHCR Pakistan, I share my personal thanks to you. You have helped advance the daily effort we make as an organization on refugee protection. We are proud to have you working with us and grateful to you all for having taken up challenge now and in the past. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Noriko, for these words of wisdom. I would now give the floor to Mr. Twali Kurbadov, UNV Executive Coordinator. Over to you, Mr. Kurbadov.
Thank you very much, Wasim. Dear colleagues, dear Usha, dear Kelly, Knut, Noriko, and all colleagues here and everybody, including UN volunteers who are watching us online. As they say in Islamabad, Assalamu alaikum. I'm very happy to be here today on what is an auspicious occasion. Exactly today, UNV has turned 50 years and 1 week old. Just last week, Thursday, we had a special meeting of the General Assembly to mark 50th anniversary of the United Nations Volunteers. And fast forward 1 week, we're today in Islamabad, just about to mark another auspicious occasion. 50 years, colleagues, is a great opportunity for us to both look back and look forward. And the last 50 years was nothing else but extraordinary in the life of the UNV as an organization and United Nations volunteers. I think we can say with confidence that together with the rest of the UN system, UN volunteers have been at the forefront of every major effort that was taken by the humanity in the last 50 years. From the rise of the global south to women empowerment, from climate action to digital transformation, from MDGs to SDGs, there's not a significant action where UN volunteers working with our partners in the UN system had not left the mark. Perhaps it is not entirely coincidental, perhaps even it is symbolic, that the 10,000th volunteer, whom I will not mention yet, represents everything, almost everything that UN system as a whole and UN volunteers are seeking to contribute. The 10,000th volunteer is female. And it is not just symbolic, it is representative. Just a couple of years ago, UN volunteers have reached global gender parity. But as we know, the regional averages tend to conceal regional disparities. So our next frontier is to close gender gap in all countries. The 10,000th volunteer, I'm tempted to mention by name, but not yet. The 10,000th volunteer is from the Global South. She, now we can admit this, she is the national of Jordan serving in Pakistan. The international volunteers serving from one country in the Global South, serving in another country of the Global South, they are in a way the everyday champions of the South-South cooperation, because they do that every day to transfer the expertise, to transfer the knowledge, and to learn from to facilitate the learning among the countries in the Global South. And today we have the majority of the UN volunteers are from the Global South. The 10,000th volunteer is working in UNHCR. UNHCR is one of the strongest global partners of UNV. I mean, the level of collaboration between UNHCR and UNV is going well beyond conceiving and fielding UN volunteers assignment. We're truly strategic partners, having multidimensional dialogues on so many areas where we're working together. The 10,000 volunteer is working to improve the well-being of the refugees from Afghanistan. And dear colleagues, as you all know, today, there is no other major world humanitarian action, the major calamity that requires as much commitment and effort on the part of the international community. So with that, I think I will now hand over to one of the veterans of the UNV, because nobody is more suitable and more appropriate to introduce the 10,000th volunteer than one of our veterans. His Excellency Javed Ali Khan today is the country program manager of UN Habitat. But back in 1987, he was UN volunteer with the UNDP in St. Lucia. Sir?
Thank you very much, Knut. Thank you very much, Usha, Kelly, and other colleagues from the Secretariat, and Korbanov, Noriko. I am so grateful. I am proud to be a volunteer. I served in, my name is Javed Ali Khan, and I served in the Caribbeans for UNDP in Barbados in 1987, and from 1987 to 1989. And fortunately, our Prime Minister went to play cricket at that time when I was in the Caribbeans at my island, St. Lucia, and I was the only Pakistani there. So they put me in the committee, and I hosted a dinner to whole cricket team of Pakistan and the Caribbean. So I believe it was a very memorable time. I did my task. We were 5 planners to develop forward planning, because Caribbean is ecologically very fragile, and our challenge was to develop and protect the island from maintaining the natural diversity and the beauty that is already there, for which the entire people from the globe, they go and pass their vacations. So I am very happy. Memory is very, and we did develop the forward plan, and the island, I was lucky, it was the birthplace of Josephine Bonaparte. So we did work to conserve and protect the that heritage as well. So the ecosystem preservation, heritage preservation, all these got me very strong bearing in my life. And I was from the government, went on secondment. So I came back after 2 years, and then I am now with UN Habitat. I worked for Ministry of Climate Change as Director General, retired from there in 2013, then worked for UN Environment, and now in UN Habitat. So I believe this is my short story, and I am very proud to be part of the UN system, a UN volunteer system, and I would really sometime come back again to serve the Corps of Volunteers. Thank you. And I will. Yeah.
Okay.
So I will
So-
like it to. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Javed Saab. We would kindly request our 10,000 volunteer, Ms. Farah Ismail. Ms. Farah Ismail to take the mic and tell us her inspiring story. Farah, over to you.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today, and it's an honor to be the 10,000 volunteer. I mean, this is surreal. I can't believe I am actually, like volunteer number 10,000. This is a historic year for UNV and the total number of volunteers deployed around the world. So allow me to introduce myself. My name is Farah Ismail, and I'm a UN Volunteer Associate Protection Officer with UNHCR in Pakistan. I am a member of the protection team in UNHCR's sub-office in Quetta. I contribute to information management, including the collection, analysis, and dissemination of information. As for my volunteering background, I am Palestinian Jordanian. And so displacement is an issue that my own family and my own parents as Palestinian refugees had faced. And so the refugee cause is something that's very close and dear to my heart, which is why from a very young age, I started volunteering in Palestinian refugee camps in Jordan, and later on expanded my volunteering experience to include Syrian refugee camps as well. I became a UN volunteer because I wanted to get the international experience of working in a duty station, in a challenging duty station. I was also particularly interested in working with Afghan refugees. And of course, I was interested in living in Pakistan and experiencing its beautiful culture. Previously, I worked with UNHCR Jordan in the Refugee Status Determination Unit in Amman in the country office, and later on joined the protection unit on the Jordan-Syria borders. And before that, I worked with several INGOs in the Middle East and North Africa, and with the Canadian government, with the Immigration and Refugee Board of Canada as a research analyst and as a refugee appeal officer. However, the regional and operational context in Pakistan differs a lot from my previous experience, which has really pushed me outside of my comfort zone and has really made me learn a lot. I also believe that volunteerism is the first step to engaging with the local community and helping to build strong relationships that generate long-term, sustainable, and culturally appropriate solutions for refugees. I feel extremely thankful for having been offered this opportunity to serve in Pakistan and be part of a wonderful protection team with other national and international colleagues. I would strongly encourage others to become UN volunteers. I've only been in my duty station for 2 months so far, and the learning curve has been massive. The whole experience really helps you grow on both a personal level and a professional level. Thank you so much for inviting me here today and for giving me this platform to share my experience. And congratulations on this amazing milestone. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Farah. This is a very inspiring story. Would now kindly request Ms. Usha Manari for her views. Usha, over to you.
Thank you very much, Wasim. Good morning, good afternoon, colleagues. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you. I'm delighted to be part of the celebration marking UNV's 50th birthday, as well as the occasion of a significant achievement for UNV. Farah, may I offer my congratulations to you on your appointment, for joining the UNV and UNHCR family, and for holding the singular distinction of being the 10,000th volunteer. This is truly remarkable. I wish you every success in your work. You're part of an exceptional group of global citizens who have committed to support peace, development, and humanitarian assistance through voluntary action. It is truly inspiring. I thank you for this. Earlier this week, we recognized volunteers around the world on International Volunteer Day and celebrated the actions of those who are putting others first and volunteering for a better future, really, in the simplest of terms. whether for urgent climate action or to support health systems and COVID-19 support, or indeed social protection, Farah, as you outlined. Many volunteers are raising awareness of gender-based violence, providing vital assistance to women and girls. Since the inception of UNV in 1971, UN volunteers have provided development and humanitarian assistance to communities primarily, and have provided critical assistance to rebuilding processes following conflict or indeed natural disasters. UN volunteers have offered support during political and economic transitions and have worked with the marginalized to address inequalities and exclusion. Really important initiatives and efforts as we go forward in the world of tomorrow. Some have traveled far from their homes in order to serve, and some have offered their assistance in the countries, in their own countries. The COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated the virtual participation of volunteers through UNV's online platform. So now, as UNV begins its 6th decade, the 10,000 UN volunteers of which you are part, Farah, we are celebrating today, are working with 60 United Nations partners worldwide in nearly 160 countries around the world. UNDP has been proud to administer and support UNV from the beginning. Currently, over 2,000 UN volunteers are serving with UNDP in 116 countries. They bring inspiration, they bring expertise, they bring community connections and networks, helping find local solutions to problems and empowering marginalized groups. So on this important occasion, I would like to say thank you to all UN volunteers. Thank you, Toily, for being their leader. Thank you to all of you who combine and come together to make this such an important part of the UN system. I wish UNV a very happy 50th birthday, and I warmly congratulate Farah as our 10,000th volunteer this year, and wish her all the very best in her assignment in Pakistan with UNHCR. Thank you very much, Wasim. Back to you.
I think maybe that the floor was handed to me, but we couldn't hear you. But greetings to everyone from Geneva, and it is a true delight to join you, to join Farah, to join Knut and Toily and Usha, and of course my colleague Noriko. I think we hit the lottery. Not only Farah, you've only been there for 2 months. You're the 10,000th volunteer. You're working in one of the most important operations anywhere in the world, and you're part of the UNHCR family. And so I want to join others in congratulating you, but also recognizing the tremendous partnership we've had with UNV, and now under Toily's leadership. You know, we've worked with UNV hand in hand since 1976, just 5 years after UNV's birth. And this year we have almost 1,000 Farahs all over the world working with us. And we're very, very proud of that partnership and the expertise that people like Farah bring to UNHCR operations everywhere. Dedicated, motivated UN volunteers. They've supported us in protecting and aiding refugees and displaced people everywhere, and trying to ensure that people have the right to seek asylum, that they find safe refuge, they're able to return home, they're able to integrate potentially, or even to resettle. And really, UN volunteers have served in every context, in refugee camps, displaced settlements, urban areas, supporting registration, as we heard from Farah from her previous experience, to repatriation, to resettlement, to protection, to family reunification. They're working in some of our most remote duty stations around the world, and are truly our protection through presence. And for refugee and displaced populations, they are often the face of the United Nations, and we're very, very proud of them. Some of the UN volunteers come from the refugee community itself, and last year, and I really want to credit Toily for really pushing this initiative forward, We launched a new UN refugee volunteer mechanism, which creates an avenue for qualified refugees to use their skills and talents to become agents of change. And I was really fortunate just before the pandemic began to visit one of the first volunteers in Kakuma camp. And now that program has expanded and it's been formalized, which is really quite exciting to see. This year, as you all know, we have seen a record number of forcibly displaced people, well over 84 million people around the world, people that are fleeing all kinds of hardships, war, persecution, conflict. And we really need to find solutions that help refugees, that help internally displaced people and stateless to be able to rebuild their lives and restore their dignities. And for us, UN Volunteers has a really important role to play in those efforts. They consistently create new ties between people and break down barriers and find really the creative solutions that we're all looking for. They work side by side with communities through their actions and their commitment, their dedication. UN Volunteers are helping to shape our common future, and that is so extraordinarily important. So I'd like to thank all the UN volunteers who have served with UNHCR for your service, and give special congratulations, as others have, to Farah for her important work in Pakistan and before that in Jordan, and representing this important milestone this year. We're proud of you, and we wish you all the very best for this current assignment and, of course, your future with the United Nations. Thanks very much.
Okay. Words of wisdom. We are grateful to USC Ms. Usha Rao Monari, ASC Ms. Kelly Clement, Mr. Ali Kurbanov, Mr. Knut Osby, Ms. Noriko Yoshida, Mr. Javed Ali Khan, and our star, Ms. Farah Ismail, and our friends and colleagues around the world who took time to attend this milestone UNV event. And I'm sure under Usha's guidance and with partners like Kelly and Twiley in the driving seat, we will come back to with such milestones and surprises once again in near future and distant future. Thank you very much for your time. Have a good day ahead, good evening, good night, those as per your time zone. Thank you very much.
10,000 UN volunteers in 1 year. For the first time in 50-year history of UNV, we've reached a milestone of 10,000 UN volunteers in a single year. UN volunteers contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals in many different ways. Some of them are working on climate action, gender equality or peacekeeping, while others are leaving their mark in humanitarian efforts or the global fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. But all of them are making a difference and helping create a better future for everyone. Thank you 10,000 times. You truly are inspiration in action.